If you enjoy the content on this channel and would like to help me out with the production of more content for this channel, then please consider supporting me on Patreon, link in the description down below. Hello everybody, this is SeetherCord and welcome to another installment of my furry top 10 series here on YouTube. This is the first top 10 episode I think in like 1 to 2 months already. I'm really sorry I've neglected this series. It's just I haven't really had any ideas or haven't really put in as much time towards researching for that, because the top 10 series in my opinion is the most difficult series on this channel to research for, because it takes a lot to get 10 different topics to research individually. So it's like research is times 10. Oh my gosh. But enough of that. You guys aren't here for me, complaining about having to work hard on my videos. You're here to see what I'm going to talk about for top 10 videos for today. And the thing we're going to be doing for this top 10 episode that is relating to furries is we're going to be discussing the top 10 furries in video games. This is one of the few videos that I am the most excited for to make, because I love video games and I like to focus a lot on my gaming channel, but not that many of you guys actually focus on the gaming channel, which is fine. Some of you aren't interested in me for gaming, some are here for more furries, but I am very excited to do this because I like to implement both my two favorite things in the world, which are furries and gaming together. So today we are going to be looking at the top 10 furry characters in video games. And also, I got a special guest with me. I have KhramChee here to also give help with the top 10 list, because I can only think of 5 and she also has 5. So we're going to work together to bring in our opinions of the top 10 furries in video games. So before we start off this list, there are 2 rules we've applied for this top 10 list. Number 1, we can only limit 1 character per franchise. So that means like we can't add 2 furries from the same video game franchise, be it Pokemon or Zelda, nothing like that. Just 1 character per franchise. And second, to qualify as a furry character, we also counted like feral characters or humans getting transformed into animals, just anything related to an animal in any way. It can be an anthropomorphic animal, it can be a non-anthropomorphic feral animal, just anything animal related, then it qualifies. So with that all out of the way, we can now get started with the top 10 furries in video games. Number 10. Spyro from the Spyro the Dragon franchise.
Spyro the Dragon is a platform game developed by Insomniac Games and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. In the first game of the Spyro series, it stars the little character, a young purple dragon named Spyro, and his dragonfly friend Sparx, who venture through the Dragon Kingdom to rescue the other dragons from a spell placed by Nasty Nork, half-orc creature getting mad at one dragon for calling him ugly, and in response turns every single dragon in this universe into crystals. Except for Spyro, because he's small and seems harmless. You, playing as Spyro, have to rescue all the dragons from Nasty Nork in different worlds and fighting different bosses. You are a quote-unquote chosen one who has to rescue the world from an evil force in the second game. Almost at the end of the game, you meet Cinder, a black dragoness who's both a boss and a foe at the same time, because it turns out she was being manipulated by the Dark Master's magic. But once you free her from it, the place you're in starts to fall apart, and you and Cinder have to escape to safety.
Number 9. Wolf Link from The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. The Legend of Zelda is my favorite video game franchise of all time. I always appreciated how most of the games in the franchise are very complex, intricate, and very high quality. However, I will say that The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess is somewhere in the middle ground for me within the franchise. It's not a bad game by any means, there are great aspects to it, but however there are a lot of issues that I do have with the game, be it with the pacing, how it feels like a carbon copy of Ocarina of Time. Just overall, it's a very average game, and if like I had to rank it in between like the 25 or so games in the franchise, it's somewhere within like the 10 to 15 range. But overall, I still think it's a pretty solid game that deserves a playthrough. Throughout the course of Twilight Princess, Link turns into a wolf when he enters the Twilight Realm. And after you reach the halfway point of the game and collect the Master Sword, you get the ability to transform from Hylia into wolf at any point that you desire. And I will say that Wolf Link is very low on this list because of the fact that his gameplay mechanics are very lackluster. When you play as Wolf Link in the game, the controls are very bad and they're very clunky and they're not really fun, and it really did ruin the experience a little bit while playing as him. But besides the wonky controls and being from a subpar game, Wolf Link is still pretty cool. His design is awesome, and the concept of him having a kind of werewolf transformation, and plus seeing his chemistry with Midna throughout the game as being both creatures who were transformed from their original species. Overall, Wolf Link wasn't that fun to experience gameplay wise, but in terms of aesthetics and also in terms of story, Wolf Link is pretty cool. and definitely deserves a spot on this list for me. Number 8. Professor Genki from the Saints Row franchise.
Saints Row is an open world game, something like GTA, but with more comedic story and really unexpected plot twists and missions. And Professor Genki is a character in this game. You don't play as Professor Genki itself, but in most games you can get a costume to look like him. I personally wear one in Saints Row 4 since I unlocked it. Professor Genki doesn't play a major role in-game, but his missions are the craziest ones in this already crazy and all over the place game series. Genki is a mascot cat that has really adorable pink design with a huge head and wears glasses that make his eyes look green. He loves to kill people and to create chaos throughout the world you play in. In Saints Row 4, you play in a world where the whole thing is a simulation of Earth, since the whole planet was destroyed by this alien species. With the help of your friends who are hackers, you are able to have powers in it. And there are missions created by Professor Genki in which you have to use those powers to complete them. And as you play, there are 2 commentators who talk about what you have to do and also talk about events going on in the world.
Number 7. Wolf O'Donnell from the Star Fox series. Wolf O'Donnell is one of my favorite asshole good guys in video games, and he definitely shows his awesomeness in the Star Fox franchise. He started off as a bad guy being hired by Andros to take down Fox McCloud and his team in Star Fox 64. I found it to be very dynamic of him to choose to take the side of the good guys once he noticed the evilness of the Eperoids. I find his design to be really cool, as well as the badass bad boy vibe that he gives off as well. I was really excited when I found out you can unlock him in Super Smash Bros. Brawl as a playable character after you beat the campaign. But it was definitely sad to know that he didn't make it into Smash 4 though. But once again, I was happy to know that he will be returning for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate along with everyone else. Number 6. Conker from Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Conker's Bad Fur Day is a game created by Rare. It is not noted for its strong-blooded graphic violence, sexual innuendos, swearing, toilet humor, and several film parodies. You play as a red squirrel Conker who wakes up drunk after a long night of partying with friends, and you decide you go back home with your girlfriend. Though, you have to deal with all sorts of situations, including having to recover a beehive from an enormous wasp, confronting a giant opera-singing pile of feces, and getting drafted into war between gray squirrels and Nazi-like group of teddy bears. And then, when you finally get to find your girlfriend, you two have to work for the mafia, which ends up in a trap because the king of the nation needs a squirrel for some reason to be used as his table leg. The king's companion kills the king in a rather creative way and reveals that you are in a spaceship. Conker tries to fight against this person, but breaks the fourth wall by talking to the developers of the game directly, asking for them to give him some advantage, which happens. And to me, this is the most epic final boss battle I've ever seen. Though there's a little more than that plays afterwards. Conker's girlfriend was killed during the mafia part of the game, and after the fight with the final boss, Conker tries to call for the programmer's help again, only to realize that they aren't there anymore and the game hasn't been finished. He gives a short speech about appreciating what one has and then goes back into the bar to get drunk again.
Number 5. Bowser from the Super Mario franchise. Aw shit, here comes everyone's favorite Japanese furry Bara, Bowser. If you're looking for a bad boy in video games, this guy is who you go to. Bowser is easily the most iconic villain in all of gaming. He has appeared in over 100 different Mario titles and has also made cameos in many other game franchises as well. Some of these cameos include him being in some Skylander game, and one of my favorites is he makes a cameo in Bayonetta 2 also. From his very powerful and large size, he does give a great sense of force and power within him, which you do feel while you play the games. You know, I honestly think that Bowser should just stop trying to steal Princess Peach for a wife and just experiment a little bit with some furries. Like, really. 90% of homosexual furries already have a crush on him, like, oh my god. Number 4. Knuckles from the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise.
Knuckles the Echidna is a character in Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog series. He is a red anthropomorphic echidna who is determined and serious, but sometimes gullible. He has the ability to glide and climb up walls, and he is a powerful fighter due to his spiked hands. He serves as the guardian of the Master Emerald, a huge gemstone that controls the series' integral Chaos Emeralds. I used to play a lot of Sonic classic games when I was young, and my favorite game from all of them was Sonic and Knuckles. I personally was too young to pay attention to the text or explanations the game gave. I was more interested in finishing the levels mostly. Knuckles always seemed to look so cool, and the story behind this character is way more interesting than the others. Plus, Knuckles' level-headed way of acting in both games and TV shows is really appealing for him. He's a really nice and relatable character. I could say he's the most relatable one than any other character in the Sonic series.
Number 3. Isabel from the Animal Crossing franchise. Animal Crossing is one of the few franchises that started up around the GameCube era and has gotten more and more exposure over the years with the Nintendo 3DS, Wii U, and the Amiibo spin-off series. Life simulation games aren't exactly my cup of tea, but I will say that Isabel definitely has made my experience with playing Animal Crossing New Leaf so worth it. Isabel is the secretary to your character Villager who you play within the Animal Crossing franchise. Isabel does remind me a lot of myself for being very open-minded to new things and also being very disliking of confrontation amongst other people. She is definitely one of the cutest video game characters of all time due to both her design as well as her clumsiness. Overall, Isabel is a great character that definitely has shown to be one of the best anthropomorphic video game characters due to being also featured in many other Nintendo games, such as Mario Kart, Monster Hunter, Tamagotchi, and Smash Bros. Number 2. The main protagonist from the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games.
I couldn't choose a specific Pokemon here since the Pokemon you play in the Mystery Dungeon series varies a lot from game to game, and also each game has a different way to choose a Pokemon for you. To me, all the games in this series are amazing, no matter how long or short the story is. I cried every single time I played one. I started my journey in this series of games from Nintendo by trying out Blue Rescue Team. In this game, the story isn't as complex as the next games in the series. You wake up as a Pokemon and you don't remember who you are, to then be mistaken as a human who was transformed into a Pokemon by a Ninetales, to then discover that that wasn't the case. You are a chosen one whose destiny was to save the world, but you needed to be transformed into a Pokemon to do so. And once your duty is over, you're sent back to the human world. And along with it, you too. Every single game of this series not only has a great story to tell, but it also teaches you a few lessons about friendship, self-love, and life in general. Anyone can easily connect with the Pokemon they play as and their virtual partner. And to me, that's the best appeals these games have.
Number 1. Daxter from the Jak and Daxter franchise. Daxter from the original Jak and Daxter trilogy is not just my favorite furry character in gaming, but one of my favorite video game characters in general. In the first game of the Jak and Daxter series called Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy, Daxter originally started off as a human until he fell into a vat of dark eco and was turned into an Ottsel, which an Ottsel is a half otter, half weasel. He's known for cracking a lot of jokes and being the comic relief for the franchise, making jokes and roasting you when you die and adding in commentary at random moments while you play through the levels. He also shared a love interest with a girl named Tess, who was accidentally turned into an Ottsel also at the end of Jak 3. Now, Daxter wasn't originally that well received when the games were first coming out. A lot of people were saying that he was annoying, he was a useless and pointless sidekick, he didn't show any form of importance to the plot whatsoever. But to me, I kinda liked that he was more so just a comic relief, you know? He felt like kind of an outside character that had more of a side plot of him trying to change back. And definitely with how Jak and Daxter's dark tone went into the later games in the franchise, it definitely helped with Daxter always cracking jokes to kind of have that sense of humanity still to it. Overall, Daxter is a great character that's very dynamic and always makes you laugh while you play through this very dynamic video game franchise. And so that pretty much wraps up the top 10 furries in video games. Thank you so much for watching this video, and also thank you so much to KhramChee for participating in this video as well. There will be a link down in the description to her social media, all of them being her Fur Affinity, her Twitter, her YouTube account. All of those linked down in the description down below. Definitely go subscribe and follow her there everywhere. Who are your favorite furry characters in video games? Do you agree with my list? Do you not? Let me know down in the comment section down below. If you enjoy my content and want to further help out my channel, please consider donating to my Patreon page, hitting that like button, turning on that notification bell, and subscribing altogether. I've been SeetherCord, and I will see you guys next time. So, goodbye, everyone.
I just saw the thing just munching on something.
It's like, tastes like chicken.